respond to the television age.
Speaking in the House of Commons is quite different. It's a unique experience.
This was Margaret Thatcher when she was first elected to Parliament, not exactly a woman of the people. In the 1979 election campaign, when she was Conservative leader, the cigar-smoking Gordon Rees, a former television producer, oversaw her image change. Her hair was softened to make her more accessible, and Rees worked hard on her voice. Here they are practicing a key moment of the 1979 campaign, a party political broadcast calling for the Labour leader James Callaghan to go.
Enough is enough. It's a lowering, not a raising.
Enough is enough.
No, it's
enough is enough.
That's it.
To say to the government of the day, enough is enough.
We worried about the way she dressed, the way she looked, the way she spoke, the timbre of her voice, the tone of her voice. But the particular thing we were concerned about was her aggression, because she's a very street-fighting lady. I mean, if an interviewer asked her a stupid question, she'd tell him it was a stupid question.
The Thatcherite cure, anti-union laws, high interest rates, soaring unemployment, split even her first cabinet. It drove thousands onto the streets in protest. And it led to inner-city rioting unseen before in mainland Britain. Calls mounted for the Prime Minister to change course.
You turn if you want to. The ladies not for turning.
That resolve was put to the test in 1982, when the Argentine flag was raised on British territory, the Falkland Islands. Against all advice, Margaret Thatcher sent a task force 8,000 miles to the South Atlantic and launched a risky and controversial war.
Just rejoice at that news and congratulate our forces and the Marines.
Hundreds of lives were lost, but victory was secured. The nation celebrated the success of its armed forces and the woman who'd ordered them into battle, who went on to secure a landslide victory at the election which followed. Mrs. Thatcher's second term in office took her into battle at home. It was with those she dubbed the enemy within, the powerful miners' union and its leader, Arthur Scargill.
We'll roll back the years of Thatcherism!
The confrontation between police and strikers left communities scarred, the union defeated and everyone clear who was running the country.
There'd have been neither freedom nor order in Britain if we'd given in to violence. There'd have been no hope for any prosperous industry.
And this was her answer to the threat from without. American cruise missiles based on British soil to threaten the Soviet Union with mutually assured destruction. MAD summed up the view of thousands of women who encircled the US base at Greenham Common to protest at a policy of nuclear confrontation. Together, American President Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher confronted what he dubbed the evil empire, while she wooed the Russian leader Mikhail Gorbachev, who went on to dismantle communism to end the Cold War, with the Iron Lady able to claim victory. None of it might have happened if the IRA had hit their target in 1984, when a bomb ripped through the Tories' conference hotel. The next day, the Prime Minister led tributes to the dead and the injured, but insisted the show went on.
And the fact that we are gathered here now, shocked but composed and determined, is a sign not only that this attack has failed, but that all attempts to destroy democracy by terrorism will fail.
No wonder she seemed to think that she was indestructible. Margaret Thatcher went on to win a third historic election victory. It would be her last. Britain was getting richer, much richer, but less comfortable with itself. People who'd embraced the sale of council houses and the sell-off of British Telecom and many other companies now balked at proposals to privatise the water boards and British Rail. The poll tax enraged Middle England. People thought that a dustman and a duke should not have to pay the same for local services. Anti-poll tax demonstrations provoked a battle in Trafalgar Square and led leading Conservatives to mutter about the need to remove that bloody woman. She had angered her Chancellor Nigel Lawson and his predecessor Geoffrey Howe. They disagreed with her on economic policy and her policy of confrontation with Europe.
The President of the Commission, Mr. Delors, said at press conference the other day that he wanted the European Parliament to be the democratic body of the community, he wanted the Commission to be the executive, and he wanted the Council of Ministers to be the Senate. No, no, no.
Michael Heseltine was manoeuvring to replace her. All he needed was an excuse. Geoffrey Howe's resignation provided it, and his attack on his betrayal by his own team captain.
It's rather like sending your opening batsman to the crease, only for them to find, the moment the first balls are bowled, that their bats have been broken before the game by the team captain.
A red-eyed Margaret Thatcher left Downing Street for the last time on the 28th of November 1990, having been told by her cabinet that she had to go. They concluded that the country had simply had enough of the longest-serving Prime Minister of the 20th century. For years, though people queued up to read and hear her views, she was shunned by her own party leadership, and of course by Labour, who'd loathed her so much. Until, that is, Gordon Brown tried to get some of the old Thatcher magic to rub off on his premiership, the surest sign that even those who'd been her bitter enemies now saw at least some of the benefits of the Thatcher revolution. In failing health, and now alone after the death of her loyal husband Dennis, Margaret Thatcher unveiled her own statue in the House of Commons. She would never speak in public again, but she must have known that for many she still pointed the way which Britain ought to follow.
And if you just joined us, to let you know that the news has been announced this morning of the death of Baroness Thatcher. She died peacefully following a stroke this morning, according to her spokesman, Lord Bell. And in response to that news this morning, the Prime Minister has said, "It is with great sadness that I learned of the death of Lady Thatcher. We have lost a great leader, a great Prime Minister, and a great Britain." Those are the words of David Cameron in the past few minutes. Let's talk now to our Deputy Political Editor, James Landale, who joins us from Westminster. Lots of other tributes coming in, James.
Yes, lots of other tributes. In particular, we've just had one from the Queen, who said in an official statement from Buckingham Palace, the Queen was sad to hear the news of the death of Baroness Thatcher. Her Majesty will be sending a private message of sympathy to the